Well, hi there. It's a bit after 6 o'clock. It's about exactly 6:15, actually, and time to show up. I'm showing up. I'm glad you're showing up. I appreciate every single one of you. And do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit. And let's shit in the box. Now, as promised, what I want to go over today is the fundamental idea that we've got the cause and effect backwards on rich people. Now, this is true in a lot of different ways, but the one in particular I'm talking about is the moral question. It's the fucking Epstein files. It's all of this shit that we're reading about in the Epstein files, and everybody goes, it's being rich that does this. Being rich makes you like this. Nope. There's a guy who had a video on YouTube. I'm not sure whether it's a popular channel or anything. I just kind of saw a thumbnail and I saw a title on it that said, "Money Makes Monsters." Backwards. Monsters make money. And I'm going to demonstrate this to you with a fairly simple example. Imagine that you're poor and you need some money. And somebody tells you, hey, you know what I heard? There is a guy. There's a guy, I can give you his address, okay? And if you go over to his place, you can sell him your fingers. He'll give you $5,000 for your little finger. He'll give you $10,000 for your ring finger, $25,000 for the middle, $50,000 for your index finger, and a whole $100,000 for your thumb. And he'll pay double if it's from your dominant hand. Now, I know that's some serious bullshit, okay? This is some serious fucking shit that we're talking about here, and you gotta be really fucking desperate to go and do something like this. But if you want the guy's address, I can give it to you. And if you're desperate enough, you'll go, well, how many of my fingers do I need? And maybe you take the address and you go over to the guy's house. But if you're a monster, you go, wonder how many people's hands I could cut off. Look, it doesn't matter. If you're talking about your own fingers, it's 570,000 for every finger on your two hands. But if you're cutting other people's hands off, that's over $500,000 every single time, dude. It's like you can be so fucking rich. It's ridiculous. If you're honest and you're only working with your own stuff, if you're not chopping other people's shit off and selling it, you can't make as much money. There's no way for you to make as much money. You don't have enough fingers to sell to make $1 million. But the guy chopping up homeless people does. Now, statistically, most people who are chopping up the homeless are going to get caught, and they're going to go to prison. But until they do, they're going to have a lot of fucking money. And the money didn't make them like that. I mean, you could argue that the guy buying the fingers, well, clearly he's got a lot of money. And how the fuck did he get the money? He's got to be a monster, right? Having all of that money made him a monster. It made him into somebody who buys fingers. He's doing something with the fingers. I guarantee you. He's got something he can do with the fingers that will make him more money than he's paying. Absolutely fucking guarantee it. And probably learned this by chopping off a guy's fingers and doing something with them. Long before he started buying fingers from people, He was a monster first. The money doesn't come before the monsterhood. You have to be a monster first. And it should be fairly obvious that it's just, I mean, you look at what went on Epstein's Island, okay? And what you have a whole lot of people, that man was having sex with a teenager. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. Of the 5 ICE officers that were responsible for the deaths of Renee Good and Alex Preddy, of those 5 ICE officers, 2 of them have been convicted of having sex with a teenager. 40%. And these people are not rich. They joined ICE. Rich people are not joining ICE. Rich people are not enticed by that bullshit salary and a $50,000 signing bonus. And they already had those records. The people that are out there doing this shitty stuff on the streets of Minneapolis, those are not people that have been driven insane by joining ICE. They were like that before they joined. And none of them are rich. None of them are wealthy. They were like that before. There are a lot of people in ICE that have domestic violence convictions. Now, if a rich dude like Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates slaps his wife in the face, it's news. It shows up in the headlines and everybody's like, oh, the rich man is abusing his wife. Meanwhile, poor dudes in trailer parks go home every day and beat the living shit out of their wives, and you never hear a goddamn thing about it. It's not news if you're not rich. And people keep trying to tell you about this and nobody listens. Everybody just sits there and goes, yeah, no, women make shit. They blow stuff out of proportion. I'm not saying no woman has ever blown anything out of proportion, but you could tell the difference between a woman who's just saying it and a woman that is actually being fucking beaten and abused. You know the difference. You know because you could look at the guy and you know that's the kind of guy who would do it. And if you don't think that's the kind of guy who would do it, it's typically because you're the kind of guy who would do it. And there's all the people that go, well, what did you expect? And I feel that. I do feel that. You get these people. There are all of these sexual assault allegations against Marilyn Manson. Did you just not know who the man was? It doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it okay. I mean, it's just like, he still did the shit he did, you know? And yet we have created an environment where chances are very good nothing will ever happen to him. Chances, I mean, particularly since Marilyn Manson's exactly the guy you go, well, what did you expect? His fans aren't going to stop listening to his music. They're not going to stop going to his shows. They're not going to stop buying his shit. They're going to buy his t-shirts. Nothing's going to happen to him at all. That's not okay. We have 2 different justice systems in America. We have one for the rich and we have one for the poor. And the really shitty part is we got another one for men who are violent to women. And that one never really prosecutes or punishes anybody. There's a lot of shit that goes on. We've got, we were just talking just this past Sunday. Kid Rock did his halftime show. And everybody's just like, hey, remember that time Kid Rock did the song about, about you're supposed to fuck underage girls? Hey, remember he did that appearance on Saturday Night Live where he said, if there's grass on the field, play ball? Remember that? Remember when Kid Rock said that? I'm going to go you one further and point out, when Kid Rock said that on Saturday Night Live, he wasn't rich. Kid Rock has always made a big deal about how he came straight out of the trailer park, which he didn't. He grew up a fairly affluent middle-class family. But he wasn't a rich kid. He didn't grow up wealthy by any stretch of the imagination. And he's the monster that he is of his own volition. The money didn't make him that way. There wasn't money to make him that way. Most people who are that way, it's not because of the money. They don't fucking have any. The overwhelming majority of prostitutes in America are prostitutes because they need the money. And most of them have a pimp of some sort. And that pimp isn't rich. He might make a reasonable working class salary running hose on the street. A lot of sex workers are independent contractors. They just do their own thing. They make their money doing their thing, and it's their money. They don't have to share it. And I'm fully in support of that. I think you should. Absolutely. If you can find a way to get paid for fucking people and you like fucking people, by all means, go and do that. Not so big a fan of the pimps. Not so big a fan of the trafficking. Especially not the pimps who are trafficking underage girls that they grabbed off of the street and got addicted to drugs. And they're like, I'll give you all the drugs you want as long as you fuck the people I tell you to fuck and give me the money. Not a fan of that. Don't think that's a good idea. And there's all these people that go, well, if it's illegal for them to sell that, then they won't sell it. Yes, they will. They will still sell it. They don't care. These people are monsters. You can't make shit illegal and keep monsters from doing it. This is not going to be a popular video. There's going to be a lot of people mad at me. I think people on every side of the aisle are going to be mad at me for this video. But fundamentally, there's an irreducible proportion of the human population. It's not a big proportion. It's fairly small. I really want to say that it's down at like 3 to 5%. But that would strongly imply that I meet like 3 times as many horrible people as the average. And I don't want to believe that. I don't want to believe that more than 3 to 5% of the population is monstrous. But I also don't want to believe that 10 to 15% I meet that are monstrous are somehow specifically drawn to me. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Somewhere between 3 and 15% of the population are monsters. And I don't know. I would really like it to be a single-digit percentage. And a tiny few of that proportion, a tiny few of those people that are monsters, a tiny few of them are rich. And being rich lets them do all kinds of shit like go to the Philippines and kidnap a half dozen women and take them to a private island in the Caribbean. You can't take people to a private island in the Caribbean until you're rich. That's just not a thing that you can do, you know? So, that's not something poor people are ever going to do. But human trafficking definitely happens with poor people. It happens to poor people. It's done by poor people. The people who are selling crack cocaine in the ghettos of the United States, and I don't mean to have any kind of racial component to that. Trailer parks are ghettos of their own sort. The people that are selling crack cocaine in the inner city on a street corner, they're not rich. They're comparatively wealthy in their area because they make like $40,000, $50,000 every year, and they don't pay taxes. They don't have a lot of expenses. They just, they just sell their drugs. These people have a reasonable working class income, but what they do is awful shit. Making it illegal doesn't stop them. They're going to continue doing that sort of thing. These monsters are going to do the things that they do because they're monsters, and they're going to make money doing it because if you're willing to be a monster, you can do things other people won't do. And a lot of those things make money. I'm not going to sell my fingers for money. That's not a thing I'm ever going to do. But if somebody's a monster and they go, I can chop people's hands off and sell them, that guy's going to make money. I don't know. I think the only thing I've done with this video is make people angry. Maybe I should just shut up. But that's the reality of human nature. The amount of money you have doesn't really determine your morality. It's the people you hang around with and the things that you do. And we have this fiction in our heads where we want to believe people who make a lot of money make that money by being good people who do good things. But for some of them, that's not true. Now, a lot of us down here, like at the bottom of society, we look up at those people and we go, no, they've all made that money by doing terrible things. That's not true either. So when you get up into those ranks where people actually are wealthy, the ones who made their money honestly really want to believe everybody made their money honestly and is just like them. Meanwhile, the monsters know they didn't make their money honestly, and they believe that everybody else is also making money dishonestly. They think, see, an honest person thinks the people around him are honest, and a dishonest person thinks the people around him are dishonest and lying about being honest. Because you have to. You can't tell people you got rich by chopping off homeless people's hands, so you got to tell them a different story. You tell them some bullshit. You say, oh, well, we did it wholesaling fur coats. That's not where the money came from. Everybody knows the money didn't come from that. Sometimes there's a little inside joke where they'll make up something that sounds plausible. And they'll say, I made my money doing this thing. I made my money with an import-export business. That was the euphemism for drugs. Well, some people actually are in the import-export business. They go, I'm in the import-export business. Everybody goes, oh, he sells drugs. People are fucked up. They just really are. There are all of these things that just like, you have an intersection between, you've got a number of people that are monsters, and you've got a number of people that are rich, and there's an intersection between rich people and monsters where monsters can get rich, and the rich can be monsters. But having money doesn't make you into a monster. Being a monster does, however, tend to make you money. I have frequently been in positions where if I wanted to tell lies, I could have made a lot more money. I chose not to tell the lies and not to make the money, and a lot of my friends were disappointed in me. And that kind of led me to side-eye those friends. Wow, you didn't just, like, tell the lie and take the money? Why didn't you tell the lie and take the money? Because it was a lie. So? I'm not sure I trust you with anything anymore. Anyway, that's kind of what I wanted to go over. And I should probably stop making people angry at this point. So, yeah, do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit. And, okay, bye.